Hey everybody, this is Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater, and you are watching CMS TV.
All right, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Chris Akin Presents. I, of course, am Chris Akin. Over there, that guy made it back from his horrendous weekend of flying. The mighty Erik Ferentinos. Erik, how are you, man?
Much better now, Chris. Thanks.
I thought we were going to do this from the airport.
Yeah, I haven't even been home 24 hours yet.
When did you get home?
I ended up getting home probably around 7:30 or 8 p.m. last night. And I was fortunate that I made the right move and changed airlines, which I'm surprised most people didn't. It's really bizarre. The sheeple didn't get out of there.
Yeah. Well, we'll set the story because this is the story of this episode is your fucking flying insanity. But just so people understand, Erik played Saturday.
Right.
Saturday. Erik got home last night, Monday night. So between Saturday at midnight and yesterday and 40, 50 hours later, it took you to fly, 2,000 miles?
Right. And no shower I showered before that gig.
Right.
Did not shower after because I don't know. I don't like to shower after the shows for some reason because I take one right before the show. So it's not like a dirty sweat, but it's a rock sweat. I get up there. And afterwards, I like to relish in it for a little while. It's like not brushing your teeth right after you had a great dinner or something. You want to taste it for a little longer before you go brushing it out. And I play a show, and if it was good, I want to smell it. I'm like, that was a funky show. So I wake up. What I do is, usually we're up late from the show, and it's usually an early wake up call. Ours happened to be 6:30 a.m. lobby call because we had vehicles that we had to return to the airport. I had a pretty sweet expedition. I was driving half the guys around it.
Right.
And my day started then. I didn't take a shower when I got up because it was really early, and just we got in the vehicles and headed out to Cleveland Airport. Returned the cars. That went fine. And that's when the delays began.
Right.
And we knew there was trouble. Some of the guys, their flights out of Cleveland had big problems. So they were, I think it was Bloss and Johnny had to get Southwest tickets. So I knew that was a possibility that they were able to switch the airlines or do something.
Sure.
And they got out. Now, I wasn't sure if I should do that because they said my flight was still going to go. And they advised me that you should go to Atlanta, which, oh man, that's like putting me right in the belly of the beast. Because if you were to discuss the airports that had the worst Delta problems, that was number one.
Right.
I'd say Atlanta Airport. The other was MCO in Florida, Orlando. Right. And let's see, there was another one, I think. I forgot what the third one was that was a mess. But definitely Atlanta was by far the worst. And this basically started up on Wednesday, right, Chris? Have you been following the story?
Wednesday or Thursday. You know what's funny, and we'll get right back to your story in a minute. But I got a text from my guys at Pinball PA on either Wednesday or Thursday, and they were asking me a question about. We have one of those portable terminal things. The card swipe terminal things.
Right.
And they called me or they texted me and they were like, is this outage going to affect the terminal? Now, I ain't going to lie. I had no idea what they're talking about. I just assumed we had no internet or something like there's an internet outage. And of course I was like, oh no, it's set up, blah, 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 blah. I had no idea until you texted me later in the day and were like, I think was it you that asked me what is Crowdstrike, or I've never heard of it before.
Crowdstrike. I'm all, this doesn't sound good.
Yeah, and I was like, Crowdstrike. Why?
It does affect. It's anti-virus software, basically, right? I mean, or
it's
encryptive.
It's a piece of Windows. It's like there's certain pieces of Windows that make Windows work.
Okay.
Like win.exe is one file that makes Windows work. And there's other things called DLL files. And a lot of times when you get a blue screen of death, it'll say like amp.dll has corrupted or stuff like that. And usually you just reboot your computer and it wipes it clean and puts a fresh version and you go. Whatever. And I've heard of Crowdstrike before, but I've never seen it act like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I've had a couple of blue screens here and there that said Crowdstrike was a problem. But then you just boot it and it's done. You know, it's like, all right, whatever. Never like what you and the rest of the country had to experience.
Yeah, it struck our crowds.
That was nutty, man.
Well, it's affected banks, affected air travel. Delta, though, it's weird how apparently Southwest Airlines is so old, like their systems, that the joke was on everybody else because they don't use that latest CrowdStrike stuff.
Right.
So their operations were basically normal everywhere.
They're like, hey, cool, come on.
In fact, they were so normal, they were like adding flights just to like help out the stranded Delta people. And they started increasing those, thank God, you know, as the days went on. Now, when I heard about this, we're out playing 3 shows. We're on the ground. We have rental vehicles. So we're driving. But I noticed on Reddit seeing the story, and right away I was like, oh, this doesn't look good.
Right.
Sent it to Chris, asking him some technical questions of what he thought was going on. I was wondering if the narrative was correct about this, that it was this company that sent the piece, or is there more to this story? But he said that was believable. Then I was on Reddit from then on, and there was IT people chiming in on there. They mentioned that at the airports, Delta uses a point-to-point system on there, where if you have to do anything, a guy actually has to go to that thing you get your ticket out of or whatever, little robot thing.
Right.
They got to go to that thing and actually touch it and get to that end to like reboot it. But it looked like they were moving. Like I go, okay. And this was only on on Thursday or something. So I figured, well, we're not flying until Sunday, so we should be okay by then, right?
Sure. You'd think.
I mean, that's a lot of days to get it together. But then I'm seeing, now I'm on the Delta subreddit, and if you go to that, you see these really crazy stories on there, and I knew right away there was a problem, and I was getting a whiff of how they were treating the customers by basically putting them on standby, but they have no chance of getting on the flight, because not only is there having software problems, but I guess all the phone calls must go through that system too, so they didn't know where most of their crew was. Down to the stewardesses and
pilots, anybody.
Pilots, with Cleveland, I felt like we got lucky because these pilots ended up showing up there, and we were just waiting on another crew member so we could go. And then all of a sudden, one happened to be walking by. I was like, "Where are you guys going?" And we're like, "Atlanta." She's like, "I want to go," and I don't know why she said that, but. We're like, okay, everybody. And then everybody starts clapping. They're like, okay, we got a crew. And this was after a pretty long delay, by the way. This was already like hours down the road. And this was valuable, time too, that I probably could have gotten out that same day through Southwest had I made the move. And I should add too, that as a rocker who does this for a living, I have a lot of miles on Delta. I have a lot of miles on Southwest.
Sure.
So I have the resources to make some moves. But time is not on your side in those situations, because you have thousands and thousands of people that have the same idea, and these flights start selling out. So then, by the afternoon, all the flights for that day are gone.
Right. And let's not even forget the fact too, you've got guitars.
Right.
So switching like that is not as simple as just switching. I don't know, and I have not heard yet if you got your guitars. I'm sure you'll get to that, but I know I saw 15 different stories over the weekend where they showed people in the airports, like the reporters.
Oh yeah.
And it was just a sea of bags.
Oh, I saw
sea of
that.
unattended bags, and I was
yesterday.
like, oh,
they had a reporter
goodness.
there. I got
Right.
to when I was, I guess, leaving yesterday morning. I saw all those bags when I was coming back from the hotel, and I had to go in because I was now taking Southwest, and I had to go in through the Atlanta airport. And first, you get dropped off near that baggage section when you're just
Right.
going to find the security to go back in, because I had my Southwest passes on my phone or whatever, and all this baggage. Oh my God, it was thousands and thousands of bags just like sitting there in these pools there next to the claim thing, that little
Right.
carousel, right?
Mhm.
And they had a news reporter there. They were getting ready to do a story. I almost wanted to go in and do a story for her, but I was like, I gotta go. But I could see that, yeah, the luggage, I go, oh man, I'm not gonna get my stuff. But that almost was a secondary worry. I mean, I have other guitars. I could play other guitars for this gig. I always had backups for the backups. I've joked
Sure.
about that before. And I do now take my whoa, hey, slow down. Hold on. Oh, this thing fell in. Hold on one second. Here we go.
Crash.
Careful there. This is like my self-contained pedal board is in
Okay.
here. And this has that Tone X I use that has the
Yeah.
Splon in there. It has my Boss pedals. It's all, this thing is the easiest my setup has ever been, as far as like, you throw this thing on the ground, just plug it in, one cable, and boom, I got the same
Right.
great sound every night, which isn't Marshall's. I don't want to go off the beaten path here, but everybody sees me in pictures with Marshall amps, but it's my Splon amp that we cloned and put in that Tone X, made a profile for it. And that's what I'm actually playing out of. That Splon sound comes out of it. We just use those
Okay.
Marshalls to power it, but
Sure.
I digress. So I carry this thing with me, and I have a backpack, and then I check a suitcase, and I check my Anki case that has the two guitars in it. So
Right.
I have
mean skis.
my ski. No, I don't do skis anymore now, because it's like the summer and it just doesn't sound right. And I'm going to places that don't have mountains and things.
Right.
Sometimes. So I had to change that. So now if they do ask, I just say clubs. They're clubs.
Okay.
And they're like, that ain't no clubs I've ever seen, And I go, well, they're prototypes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And I don't
I'm
know.
on
So
the
far, so good.
tournament. That's all I gotta say. Well, I'm on the tournament.
Right. And I joked about this. I wear more sporty kind of clothes. I put
Right.
track suits on and like hats and like a collared shirt, or something. I haven't got a polo yet. That was just too far, but I know that would seal the deal as being believable. So I wasn't really so much worried about that as just getting home. I mean, my car was at Wally Park racking up money. I'm going to get refunded for this at some point, but I'm also trying to like comprehend how many people are going to be putting in claims against them. I mean, Secretary Booty Juice or whatever got involved in this. Did you see that?
No, I did today.
Yeah, he's gonna.
No, I didn't see
yeah,
anything
there was
today.
word about that. He's the Secretary of Travel. Is that what he
Yeah,
is?
he's the travel guy.
Travel Secretary. Yeah, so they're gonna come in and like do a full investigation into this. But basically, they were keeping people there for days. Like if they didn't decide to buy tickets on Southwest, they just were stuck there. They were literally spending days in the airport. Some of them would get hotels and have to come back every day and do a whole nother 15 16 hour airport day, try to
Right.
get a hotel voucher. Some of the hotels were not taking vouchers anymore because it takes so long to get the money from Delta to pay for
Sure.
those rooms. So they were just leaving people high and dry.
Man.
Even the hotels that did take reservations were overbooking them. So there's a lot of fees that have been incurred on Reddit. Some of the stories that I see, I'm just like, what? Some of these people are like $7,000-8,000 in with like
Holy cow.
whatever they're trying to do. Like for me, it really wasn't that bad. I mean, I just pulled up the Southwest app. They had added some flights at this point, and I just used I could have paid for it and got the money from Southwest, but I just used my miles. It was about 25,000 miles.
Right.
So I intend to go, hey, give me 25,000 Delta miles. I'm definitely going to ask for that to make up for the ones I had to
Sure.
use out of South. But that sounds fair, and that's not out of pocket for them as far as cash.
Right.
And then I want the money for this awful hotel room that I got, which we'll have to talk about. It's
Sure.
the Motel 6, which is the bottom rung, right, of the
Only
ladder.
the Super 8 is lower.
I don't know if they had a Super 8 over there, but they did have this Motel 6. And at the time that I know I'm skipping around, but That night when I was making my moves, I was looking up a hotel. A gentleman that had got out of the customer service line said he had got a Holiday Inn Express, but I think by the time I was looking on hotels.com or whatever, that was gone. There was a couple like really expensive hotels that were over $300 or $400. The ones that were in the $130 range, like Holiday Inn Express, there was the Motel 6 was ended up being about $120
for a Motel 6.
Yeah, for the airport one.
Oh, that's
but
horrible.
They had a shuttle, but the lines, the customer service lines, like when they cancel a flight, the only thing they tell people is go to one of these Delta help desks, which they're very few and far between. And in fact, the guy told us, he goes, go to the Delta, help desk. It's C8. He said C8. It's not C8, sir. It was like C40 or 44 or something like that. So I thought, well, I'm gonna go run to the C8. Well, there isn't even a C8 at all. That was the funny. I think they did this to me once before, to be honest. I think they pulled the same trick on us in New York once, where they name a gate that doesn't exist, because between it goes gate 7 and then it skips to 9. There is no 8. And you figure that out when you go, wait, did I miss it? And you're like, and this was after like really hauling ass, jumping on the subway thing, going down there, running to C8. So by the time I realized I got catfished, I was like, God damn it. And I just have to, now I'm going 40 gates, or I asked a lady on the cart to give me a ride. She didn't have to take me far because the line went a quarter mile.
Oh my God.
Yeah. On my on my regular Facebook page, I did put video updates, like I made a video about what was going on, and then later I uploaded some stuff from earlier where they could see the customer service line to this help desk. It was ridiculous, and it moved so slow. They had about 3 agents that were working it. They had a guy there who was doing pretty good. He was kind of moving people along, but the other 2, it was what you usually get in Atlanta, like really slow moving women that were working there.
Right.
Spent about 3 hours in that line. And at this point, I had even, booked the Southwest ticket. I had got the hotel already as I was waiting in line, but I wanted to see what else they would give me while I was there.
Sure.
And I was worried about my guitars. I was going to go, I want to verbally know what you're doing with my shit. And they told me, I go, look, you canceled the flight. They go, we'll rebook you tomorrow on standby at 8 a.m. And I go, there's no way they're doing it.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
And I later, hindsight, from what I've seen on Reddit, they'll like put 80 people on standby for a flight when there's only like 1
seats, right?
1 or 2 seats, and they have 80 people on standby, and then the flight, if it even goes, none of those.
And then when those people don't get on, then you got to fight in the terminal.
Yeah, I will give kudos to everybody I saw. Nobody lost it in an angry way. The heartbreaking thing was seeing people crying. That was a bummer. You see elderly people that are like just left there in a wheelchair. Nobody's like, I don't even know what those people are doing at the airport, to be honest, but they get like the staff to wheel them to where they got to go. And so they would just sit there sobbing like a 80-year-old person, 90-year-old person in a wheelchair, just sobbing. You see a lot of foreigners sobbing because they can't speak, they don't speak the language, and they're trying to understand what's happening. And none of these people have the money to go spend $700 or $800 on a ticket on another airline,
right?
And they're not a traveler like me that's got the miles. Like I said, that was really easy to just pick up my phone and go beep boop 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 beep boop boop, and I was like good to go for the next day. Right. So I trust this lady. She says, look, if we cancel this flight, you're probably not going to get your stuff. And if you think you're going to go down right now and go ask them to go get it for you, good luck. You'll be waiting 6 hours, 8 hours. She goes, don't do it. The best thing that you could do is let us put you on standby, and at least even if you don't go, your stuff will. Because she knew I got a Southwest ticket, so I'm like, okay, all right. Now, I should add that my stuff didn't go out at 8 a.m, like they said. You know what I mean? I went out at like 12 o'clock, 12:40 or something, but I'll skip to the end. Magically, somehow, when they did get it out, it came down right when I got on my Southwest flight. So I'm not joking. Like when I walked to the other terminal, my bag, you know how the thing's going around the carousel? At the exact same time I'm walking past, my bag's right there, my suitcase. I'm like, no way. And I went right to the thing. It had just plopped off the oversized, my guitars. I'm like, what are the chances of that? Like that was a magical gift to me to walk there and actually go home with my stuff yesterday. So I'm going to take it easy on Delta as far as my demands. I'm going to ask for the $30 room. I'm going to ask for the $40 I incurred having to stay another day at the parking at Wally Park. I'm going to say, give me 25,000 miles and possibly either a flight credit for that, for whatever, how much that ticket was, $500.
Yeah.
For that leg of the trip that they didn't put me on. I didn't fly it. You flew my stuff, but you didn't fly me.
I mean, and you're being very nice because you're not even taking into account the day that you lost.
Oh, yeah.
Because you lost. I mean, I know it's not the way it is, but if you had a jobby job, you'd have been fucked.
Right, or a gig the next day.
Yeah, or a gig the next day. If you had a Sunday gig or a Monday gig, you would have been totally hosed.
Most of us know somebody that got caught up in this. Quiet Riot played with us on I think the last night we played, and they got stuck somewhere and hadn't been. They didn't sleep that whole night, and that sucks for a singer, for Jizzy. That's tough. I mean, he plowed through it and got them through the show, but that they were tired, and that must have really sucked, man.
Yeah, I got asked today if you guys got where you were going by a guy that you play with on occasion, Ken Mary.
Okay.
You know Ken from Jack Russell's Great White?
I know Jack Russell's band. Yes,
He's
I think
drummer.
I know.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
But yeah, he asked me if you were caught up in the mess, and I was like, yeah, you were.
Right. Yeah, it was something else. I'm trying to think of like better ways that could have handled it, because if they were honest with everybody and said, listen, everyone, if you really want to get out of here today, buy a Southwest ticket, that would be thousands of people potentially going all at the same time. It's almost like they were just trying to let the smart people figure it out little by little to kind of slow the roll.
Right.
Or spread it out somehow, like to not have everybody do the same thing at one time. That's how it kind of felt. But obviously, but reading these stories, it amazed me how long people waited to do anything that did end up spending thousands on plane tickets finally after waiting 3 or 4 days. It's like, you could afford to do that. You didn't do it on day one.
Yeah.
But it was believing what Delta said, like the standby thing. Standby is not a guaranteed ticket.
Yeah, standby. I've flown standby once or twice, and you got to catch an empty airplane to get on standby, basically. And if you've got 10,000 people sitting there that had their flights canceled, you ain't getting on standby. You're just not. There will be no standby.
Right. The first couple of days it was up there. It was about, I think they were canceling like 10,000 flights. I mean, which was basically all of them for the first day or two. Delta was really excited when they were able to announce that only 30% of their flights weren't going, which was probably more than that. But I mean, that's almost half, if you want to get.
I saw a news thing yesterday that said 5,300 Delta flights had been canceled. 5,300.
It's still going on, which is like they're strategically trying to cancel certain flights so they can have their crews take care of these people at these other ones, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, I've heard people go, well, they should stop selling new tickets, but that won't work because these people need new tickets. You know what I mean? To get going. I thought they should have brought in the Red Cross or something.
Or military flights or something.
Well, yeah, like possibly the military possibly could help, or at least bring supplies to help some of these people that like maybe might not have money to eat any food. I guess the ones that were hanging out for days managed to get a couple vouchers out of them, probably, that they were able to use. Now, even for me, like getting a food voucher at 11 o'clock at night, they're rolling those gates down at that point.
Of course. I mean,
on the Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? They're like,
exactly. You're going to get that pizza that's been on the burner at Sbarro since noon.
No, it shuts down like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Now, that is definitely something that those restaurants could have potentially done, is offered overtime or something and kept their restaurants open all night. That's something that could have been done. I was saying, the Red Cross come in and give blankets and pillows or something to these people, because they were just, children sleeping on the floor, like their head on the whatever cement thing. I don't know what that airport floor is made out of, but Yeah, it was a tough watch. And then back to, Reddit, just reading these horror stories on there. I'm going, man, why do they keep believing? Like, it's weird that they believe after you've got your flight canceled 3 times in a row in one day, you went through 3 more days of that without going, I'm leaving. People were trying to get in their cars. It depended how far their flight was. Like if it was like 8 to 10 hours or less, they were trying to rent cars and drive out of there. It was literally like a disaster movie where people are just trying to escape. So it was very stressful. My first day was definitely about 18 hours of BS. Yesterday was more of a regular travel day because again, Southwest, it was like easy peasy. Everything went as planned. There was no problem. But Delta, it was like even you would think you had a chance, but then somebody would be missing on the crew. You would hope they would have an airplane autopilot or something. You're like, we're willing to take the risk to get out of here. We don't need a stewardess. We don't care about it. We don't need our drinks. Don't worry about the
drink
peanuts.
Service. Just get the fucking plane moving.
Yeah, just come on. Just we see one guy, just one pilot. Like they don't care. They can't do it like that. They have to have at least two people up front. They need at least one service person, I guess, to do the plane. Wow. But yeah, what else? I that motel. I should back up and talk about the motel. To get to this motel, they did have a shuttle. This was the airport. It's like a hotel circle that a lot of major airport areas have, which will just be a bunch of hotels right around each other. But you have to take the shuttle that goes to that hotel, which is stupid because you could pretty much take a shuttle to any one of these and walk to the other one. But anyhow, I had to walk to this shuttle area, and God damn it, the Motel 6, it seemed like an hour before this guy showed up. I watched the other hotel ones show up multiple times. They're supposed to come every 30 minutes. This dude was like an hour before he showed up, and I was so tired. I had been in lines and waited so long all day. That's how it hit the 18-hour mark, right? Or almost. That was about 15 hours. Finally, shows up. Guy takes me to the Motel 6. What's in there? Another goddamn line. And this line is pretty long for that. I've never seen a line like that in like a motel like that. This was like a good 40 people in here, and they got one clerk, and this dude looks tired as hell.
Right. He's been working since noon.
You could tell his eyes just look like they're burning. He was like, I mean, he must have checked in hundreds of people, which that's not probably common.
No, not at all.
But I'm also I'm talking to this lady in the line, and she's telling me that they were at this hotel that they had reserved, and at some point they go, sorry, no more rooms. And it didn't matter if you had paid for it. They were out of rooms. They had whatever happened. They overbooked it. So people were like scurrying to run across or get back online and grab another room. She had her husband at one hotel. She was here at the Motel 6. Somebody tried to help her and made a common screw up, which is, even though it's late at night, or it's about to be late at night, she picked the wrong date. So they reserved a room where she was early. You can't check into the 22nd. Like you pick the 22nd. You have to watch what it says on there. Like I made sure I booked the room. It was before midnight when I booked it. I think I booked it at like 11 o'clock, made sure it was the 21st. I made sure of that, and ended up showing up. I got my room at probably 2 a.m. or something. But I had that prepaid for the 21st thing.
Right.
This person that tried to help her sister or whatever accidentally bought it for the 22nd, so it was useless. But she got lucky. The husband at the other hotel, like, had got his room, so she was like, "Okay, see ya, good luck." It wouldn't be right not to tell what the story too about this dude that was in the shuttle with me. It was like a typical brother. He had some other people. I didn't know if they were part of his group or whatever. They were kind of sounded like they knew each other in the back. But when we got there and he walks in and sees the line, he's like, "Oh, no, I don't like this." He was like, "Whoa." And he goes, "Hey, I'm right behind you. I'm just going out here for a cigarette. You just watch my stuff," did one of those. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And he puts his stuff. And I'm thinking maybe, hey, if he's going to just go smoke this cigarette, maybe I'll go, yeah, he was behind me or whatever. This dude doesn't come back. He's just out there. He's got friends out there. I don't know if they can just meet each other and become friends or whatever out there, but all these like shady people that were out there, he was talking to them, hanging out. They were partying. There was women out there. I think there was also a high prostitution area.
Oh, nice.
In Atlanta. Yeah, there was a lot of prostitutes around, a lot. And all this was going on. They were in the bushes out there. There was stuff going on in the bushes out in front of this place. Now every so often this dude would kind of peek back in and he'd look all kind of crazy, and he'd look over and he'd see him like he's like counting how many people till it gets to me.
Right.
Like I become his placeholder now.
Oh, great.
And many people have come in since. So now it's like, dude, when you come walking in, nobody that's in here has even seen you yet. You're just going to show up. You're not my friend or anything. You're not with me. And sure enough, like as I was getting closer to the counter, he starts coming in now. And now he's like waiting by the counter. And I'm going, man, this is going to get really awkward. I'm wondering what the dude behind me is going to do. There's also a woman in front of me that had a lot of family with her. And I'm worried about the rooms running out at this point. And oh man, then she goes and buys 3 rooms, and her credit card doesn't work. And this guy let her pay cash. She must have reserved it on a credit card, so she got lucky,
right?
Because they weren't taking anything that wasn't already prepaid.
Right.
They made an announcement, and I was really worried that I was not going to get a fucking room, and I was going to have to, like, I don't know, somehow take a cab back to the airport and sleep there. Either way, I was starting to lose it. She buys 3 rooms. I was going, lady, can't you guys condense? Maybe just take 2. But anyway, she paid for 3. I got up, somehow got mine. He saw the reservation. I was like, even though the place sucked, I was happy just to have somewhere I could take a shower really quick.
Sure.
This place, I thought it was going to be all right. They didn't have the old school Motel 6 that patchwork,
the brown patchy comfort.
And those gross curtains, like everyone looks the same for decades now. They actually had a different comforter. It did have wood floors. It looked like it was maybe not going to be that bad, but then right away when I went in the bathroom, I noticed that there was like somebody's towel that they had used that was just sitting on the sink. Like somebody had this room and didn't really use it that much, so they just bypassed it as far as cleaning it.
Yeah, they just clean enough.
Yeah, clean enough. They didn't use the bed, so because sometimes that happens. Like somebody just goes to a room briefly. I've
takes
done
a
that.
Shower and leaves or whatever.
Maybe, yeah, I've done that where I just didn't want to be at the airport. And I took the room they gave and just went there for 3 hours or whatever. Maybe it was a situation like that. I don't know. But I went into the towel area and I went to pull a towel out, and there was this big just clump of like hair. It was so gross. It was gross, man. It was a huge clump of hair just sitting on this towel. It's like, and the floor itself, because they didn't have the air conditioning on or anything, so it was like really humid in there, and it was just like slimy. It felt slimy, and I don't know what was burning my feet. I was hoping it wasn't athlete's foot, but it was like maybe chemicals from mopping the floor, because it was like kind of humid in there. I felt like my feet were absorbing it or something, and it was like a burning sensation I was getting on the bottoms of my bare feet, which were gross. So I take a shower, I get into bed, and I was just like, whoa. I had to get up, I think at 9 a.m. or something. I think I got up a little earlier because I didn't know how long it was going to take, or if the shuttle guy was going to like lag.
Right.
And they said they come on the hour or something. So I went down there at 9. I see the guy was still working, dude. He was just getting off work.
Oh my God.
I got to commend that man. I got to commend that man that stayed and got everybody, checked into the Motel 6. Yeah. So I ended up taking my shuttle over there, and then it was just business as usual. Southwest, the flight was on time. The crew was there. I went home. It had a happy ending. My stuff came on Delta at that time. And here I am. I got my shit.
You made it.
I made it. I just got to put my complaint in and get some money and miles back for it. But man, I feel lucky compared to the people that were there for days.
So when you get home, do you just flat out collapse?
Pretty much. I mean, I was starving. I did eat a little bit. And then, I took a shower and just laid in bed. Read a little bit online, and just passed the hell out. Got up this morning. I don't even remember what I did today.
All right. Now, how do you psych yourself up to do this again this weekend?
Well, fortunately, we were just doing that KLOS thing this Friday, I believe.
Okay, so you don't have to fly.
Yeah, that's just like driving up to LA area.
Right.
And it's an early thing too. I got to be at like a 2 p.m. sound check, and then I think the things at 5, and they have like a 200-person audience they gave tickets away for.
Okay.
The radio station. So it's just like a radio station concert, special event, private event almost, I guess. I don't know. But we only have to play like 6 songs.
This is what, like 30 minutes or something? 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's a short thing. Matt Penfield is emceeing it. And that's pretty, easy money to roll up there, and I'll be probably home by 9 p.m. or something on Friday. So that's kind of cool. I mean, we do have obviously, more dates and stuff coming up, but I don't think it's this weekend, is it? I'm not mentally prepared. August 9th is the next one. Sturgis. Okay. We got to go out to Sturgis, man.
That's going to be a big one.
Yeah. This is the Iron Horse Saloon, I think that's the Jesse James one.
Okay.
I believe. So finally, because all the times I've played Sturgis, it sucked. If you're not playing his, it sucks. Don't bother, because it's just another campsite where there's not a lot of people there. Everybody's over at that other thing.
Really? I thought Bike Week was a big deal there. No?
It's just, it hadn't been for us or whatever happened with our bookings. It seemed like we're always at a campsite that doesn't have hardly anybody there. And there's always like huge bands playing over at that guy's, the guy from what's the chainsaw band? Jackal guy. Yeah, his one's the one that everybody's over at.
Okay.
So
I was unaware.
Yeah, it's in the hotel's like a half an hour away.
Okay. So that's another hassle.
Yeah, it's not super great going out to that as you would think. I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer.
It's a gig.
Yeah,
gig.
I'll take it.
Right.
I don't even know if I have my airline ticket. God, I hope it's Southwest we're going on. Like, how long
Delta.
do you think this is going to take? Like Delta, man. I know we're changing gears, but just like, why is this taking
They may have to switch their whole system. I mean, that might be what's taken so long, is that it's such a security hole that's been exposed.
Right.
That they've got to recondition everything to Linux or something. Yeah, I have to admit, I was surprised at how many banks and airlines and everything were on Windows systems.
Yeah.
Every time you hear about something getting hacked, it's Windows.
Yeah, like I've always known that. I've always been a Mac guy, I guess, because of do music production, video stuff. But okay, if Macs are impervious to this, why wouldn't you be using Macs?
And Unix or Linux is even more impervious because they built Mac off of Linux. So Linux is like the all-time never hacked because there's not enough of it to even make viruses for it. So I'm not saying that there are none, but I've never heard of a Linux hack ever. And most corporations are built on something like that, on Linux, on Unix. If it's real old, like you're saying, be something like COBOL or something old. But the fact that they're just running Windows 10 or 11 or whatever, what the fuck are they doing? They're billion-dollar corporations.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, as of today, there's still 600 flights being canceled as of today. They're still at that, can't get better than 30% of them being canceled from what I can tell. And we're a week into it now.
Yeah.
That's like unprecedented.
Yeah.
So I don't know what airline we're doing, but God damn it. We're Delta people, we're mostly go Delta. I'm thankful that Southwest got me home, but I'm not a big fan,
Are you thinking that your band wise will change airlines now and not go Delta?
Well, we use them both. We use Delta and Southwest just on whatever's cheaper, and we have status on both. I'm at least an A-lister on Southwest. Some of the guys from Vegas are a little higher because they travel on their own too and amass some miles. What was I gonna say about that? I don't know.
As far as you don't think that you guys will change? You think you'll just wait it out?
No, we'll wait it out. Yeah, we're not gonna. We're gonna still continue to use both. Shit, I have like 250,000 miles on Delta.
Okay.
So
yeah, it doesn't make any sense to to switch.
Oh,
at this
is
point.
what I was going to say. I know where I was going to go with this. Like, the amenities of Delta make it easier as a traveler. Like the TVs on the screen, which I don't really use the TVs anymore, but just having Wi-Fi for free and being able to plug my phone in under the seat and like get power for it. Like, it's weird that Southwest doesn't at least let you plug your phone in on the plane. I mean, they do have free movies and TV on your phone if you go onto their Southwest
on their crappy Wi-Fi that doesn't work. Barely ever works.
But if you want to use the Wi-Fi, you got to pay like $12 or something, and if when you're on, you got a layover, you're gonna have to do that twice, which sucks. I don't like you. They will give you free texting, but you can't text pictures or video or anything. It's just like a dumbed down texting that you can do.
What is it? A BlackBerry? Jesus Christ!
Right.
What year is this?
Yeah, so it sucks. I mean, because I just usually spend most of my time just like everybody else perusing the internet on Wi-Fi. Right. I don't even need a TV to watch movies anymore. I have my places. I'll just sit on Reddit for 3 hours or whatever the flight is. So it sucks that Southwest doesn't do that. I have to basically charge my phone as much as I can before the flight starts, and that's it. So, and I don't even know if I could get 4 hours of juice out of my phone anymore. It's more like 2 at the most. And most of in the gate area, most of the charging things by the seats don't work for Southwest, and they never do. It's like they're all broken and they do nothing to fix it.
Wow.
But Delta, they have all that. The Wi-Fi, place to your phone. It's just more comfortable. They have the Comfort Plus. They got first class. Like Southwest is just everybody's got the same shitty seats.
Wow, it's crazy. I'll throw a couple comments up and then we'll take a quick break.
All right. Okay, Mr. Moose there. Evening, gents. Yes, you finally made it home, Erik. You guys, first people I thought of when I heard about Computer Fiasco Friday. Well, thanks for keeping us in your thoughts.
And you did make it home, so finally, eventually.
Right. I got it the worst out of everybody. Okay, we got Fuego on deck. Sounds you were going round and round. Yep. It wasn't way cool, Junior.
No, it was not.
I saw a funny thing. A friend of mine, of ours, Amir Morandi, who's a old friend of Matt's, and I've known him for about 5 years myself, and he's a great photographer. And he was at some of the shows, and one of the photos he took, he made a "Make America Way Cool Again," and then had a cool picture of Steven, like for president 2025. So maybe we can get Piercy on the ballot.
Well, he couldn't do any worse than these fucking ass clowns we do have on the ballot.
It's a crazy week, right? With just Biden dropping out.
Yeah, and if he's alive or if he's not, and who knows? And Erik freezes up, of course. God damn it.
Am I back?
Oh, your sound is, your video's not. I think this is as good a time as any to take a break.
Commercial. I'll bug out and come back.
Yep. All right. So while he does that, I will flip to this screen, and I will flip over to a commercial or two, and then we will be back with some more. It is Chris Akin Presents. Hey, it's Chris Akin from Chris Akin Presents, the Classic Metal Show, and the Seth Williams Show. Now, we know it's frustrating to have to use this website for videos, that website for podcasts, and still another for the live shows. Well, let's end that shit right now. Get the Locals app and get it all in one place. This is free, folks. You don't have to pay to get most of the great content that we're doing. Like I said, it is free. On your phone or device, just go to locals.com in your iOS or Google Play Store, install it, and create an account. Open the app, surf to the search from the bottom, and type in Classic Metal Show. Then click Join. That's it. Once you join, you can click on the triangle button at the bottom, and you can select from videos, live streams, both past and active, or podcasts. Watch and listen right there. When a stream is live, you can participate in the chat right from that screen if you choose. If you want our exclusive content, just click support when you visit the Classic Metal Show community. It's simple, and it's the best way to stay engaged with all of my shows, so sign up today. Hail and kill.
It's the limited edition 6-big set from Eric Ferrantino's. Get your autograph set today at ericpix.cmspn.com. $25 includes first class shipping.
I drag the floor, the keys to your city. I scratch the surface down into your life. I see the sign.